Good morning, junior paleontologists. We are entering our final week of tours through the Glendive Dinosaur and Fossil Museum because we've got some great news, Alden. You know what it is?
No.
Next week, what are we doing?
Opening up.
We're going to open the museum on Tuesday. That is May 5th. We will be open from 10 to 5, and we will be open Tuesday through Saturday throughout the summer all the way up to Labor Day. So please come see us. We would love to have you go through. Again, we haven't had a really chance to count all the snakes, especially, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a job you can come back and do as you go through the museum. You can find all the different snakes and then let us know how many you find, because there are a lot of snakes and we haven't found very many. But welcome again, and I want to encourage you to get out your junior paleontology sheets, and you can finish filling this out. We only have a few questions left. We have some matching that we need to do, and we'll be done. And then we'll tell you how you can turn this sheet in to get your button. So today, we'll do all of that, and then Thursday, we have a special guest that's going to join us, and we'll finish up our time with our special guest on Thursday. So thanks for joining us, and let's see here. What do we have right behind us here? You said that you really like this creature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it about it that you like?
The back part of it.
Okay. Oh, all those kind of spiny things up there?
Yeah.
Yep. And what is this creature called?
Stegosaurus.
It is a Stegosaurus. And one of the things that's very interesting about Stegosaurus is those bony plates on the back. They're not exactly sure why this creature had those. Some have proposed that it's to heat and cool the creature, so it could like put them up against the sun to warm up or get in some shade to cool down, because if it's a reptile that's cold-blooded, it needs the environment to help warm it up and cool it down. So there's some that have proposed that. Some think it's just for display purposes, that it's just there for looks more than anything. And sometimes God creates things for looks, right?
Yeah.
Beauty and that kind of thing. And then one of the coolest things is there is a temple in Cambodia that was in the 1100s AD. They carved a bunch of different animals in this temple. And they carved a creature that looks an awful lot like a what?
Stegosaurus.
Like a Stegosaurus. And what would be the only way for them to really know what a Stegosaurus looked like?
If they saw one living.
Yeah, if they saw one alive, that would make sense, right? So we think it's one piece of evidence that shows that dinosaurs still existed not all that long ago, and that they were on the ark as well. And so I'm going to have the camera pan over one more time to our display over here that shows a lot of artwork and literature that describes dinosaur-like creatures, we think. Many times dragons and stuff like that we think really fit that. So you can come to the museum and you can see a lot more of this stuff as well. So we want to encourage you to do that. So we are going to make our way here in just a second. Right down our little hallway here that is called In Their Own Words. And there's a lot of quotes on here from scientists throughout the years that challenge the idea of evolution. In fact, many of these people are evolutionary scientists. And so they're basically challenging their own belief and their own theory. So you can come and read more of that. And we even sell a booklet downstairs that has a lot of these quotes in it. So let's just kind of make our way over this way. And we're going to come around the corner, and then there is a really cool creature right there. Do you know what this one's called, Alden?
Acrocanthosaurus.
Nope. Try again.
Ankylosaurus.
Ankylosaurus. Those I get mixed up on those, right? Those are easy to get mixed up on. Ankylosaurus. This is an armored dinosaur with a big tail that, you know what they think it could do with that tail? Think about it swinging that tail if a T-Rex was coming at it.
It would probably kill the T-Rex.
It probably could. Well, it might hit its leg and break its legs. Yeah, and it could really do some damage. So probably the only way the T-Rex could deal with this thing is if it could somehow knock it over and get to the belly part of the creature, right? You know, there's a lot of creatures like that. There is a matching on your sheet that is the skull. Here's a cast of an Ankylosaurus skull. And make sure you mark that one down. I think that one is on your sheet. Is it right there? Yep, there it is. Okay, so make sure you look at your sheet and match that. They found a type of Ankylosaurus called a Dinosaur up in Canada that was mummified. It had a lot of soft tissue still on it, and it was very well preserved. And we think that's another piece of evidence that for the flood and that these things didn't happen all that long ago. Yeah. Well, let's make our way over here to Margie, and we're going to let's work around kind of the front over here. Try not to get too far ahead of the camera. So this is the only exhibit that we have a cast of the original. So let's go, actually, let's start over here, and let me start that again. Let's start down here. We have a cast of the original find as it was in the ground. So that's called in situ. Can you say that, Alden?
In situ.
In situ, yeah. So it's like in place, this is what the bones were like. And so maybe even get it out over to there. And you can really see, I know there's a lot of shadows to have to deal with too. So you can see the bones as they were found in the ground. And one thing you'll notice is where the skull is. Can you find the skull in this? Where is it?
I don't know. Right there?
Yeah, it's right here in the middle. So if you can kind of see here, I forgot my laser pointer today, so you just have to deal with my finger. But this is the skull of the Struthiomimus named Margie. And it's named Margie because the person who found it is named Marge. And so they named it Margie, which is pretty cool. And so we have an in situ cast. We have an articulated cast, which is basically another way of saying the bones all put together. And this is what this creature would have been like if all the bones were put together just right. And then we also have a model that our museum artist made. And we'll get to that here in just a second. You can see the model on the other side, right up to there. These are all Margie. So we have the in situ cast, the articulated cast, and the model. Can you say all those things? So what is that one?
In situ.
Yeah.
Articular.
Close. Articulated, that's right. And?
Model.
And a model, that's right. Good job. So you're learning a lot going through here, right? Some different names and terms. And I want to just tell you something really cool about this find and many dinosaur finds that are complete or mostly complete dinosaurs. They are found in what's called the death pose, with the neck and the head arched back over its back. And they've done a lot of research to determine what causes that, and their best guess is that it is water that makes all the difference. And we have a perfect event that would explain water causing these things to be in the death pose. What event is it?
Flood.
The flood of Noah's day, which would explain finding a lot of creatures, not just dinosaurs, but they find birds and mammals in that same position in the fossil record. And it's water that does it. Isn't that cool? Yep, pretty neat. Let's make our way over here to another. This was found just right outside of Glendive, the Struthiomimus. And now another local find is right here. This is Jonathan, the Thessaliosaurus. And he's called a Thessaliosaurus neglectus. And he's on here also. Is he? Oh, did we do the matching for the Struthiomimus? Yeah, there's a Struthiomimus head on the matching. And I forgot about that one. We did the name of the Struthiomimus. What was the name?
Margie.
Margie, that's right. And then there's a matching up above too. So you might need to take a look at that as well and do some matching. So this is a Thessaliosaurus that we're looking at now, and this was found right outside of Glendive as well. And the Thessaliosaurus, this particular one, Jonathan, was excavated by Otis Klein, who was the one that started this museum. Otis had a vision to start a creation dinosaur and fossil museum, and he decided to come to Glendive because he could dig up dinosaur bones here too. So he's also gone out and done a lot of excavation. And if you look at the sign here, right there, where it shows all that red, that is all of the bones that were found from this particular creature. So that's pretty cool. We found a lot of it and excavated it. And this is a cast of the original up here. So let's look at that first, and then I'll come back to those bones. This is a cast of the original Thessaliosaurus named Jonathan. And it means wondrous lizard. That's what Thessaliosaurus means, wondrous lizard. And then we also found a bunch of bones that go with Thessaliosaurus. Now, a lot of bones between a Thessaliosaurus and a Pachycephalosaurus look very similar. So we've actually had to go back and relook at some of the bones that we had labeled as Pachycephalosaurus bones, and we discovered that they were Thessaliosaurus bones. So we brought them upstairs and we put them right with our Thessaliosaurus display. So these that you're seeing on camera now are real Thessaliosaurus bones from just varieties of places from our dig site and dig sites around as well. It's a pretty cool find, and we use it to really illustrate that we are a working museum that goes out and excavates dinosaur bones, prepares them, and also gets them all ready to go to get back to the lab so that they can be put on display just like this cast. The original Thessaliosaurus is in Colorado right now at Treebolt Paleontology, and if you have about $400,000, you can buy him. And that's why we have a cast. We were able to trade some of our portion of Jonathan and get some of the different exhibits we have in the museum. So let's come over here, and I want to talk about this creature here really quick. We have this is kind of a push button display, so Alden, why don't you come on up and you can do some of the buttons. Go ahead and push some of them so we can kind of see get it lit up. Let's see, go ahead and undo it and then push it again. There you go. Yep, you can see the buttons light up, or the lights light up. And it shows some of the different parts of the bombardier beetle. The bombardier beetle is very cool in that he has chambers in his body that have chemicals that when mixed together in the third chamber and then spewed out the back end cause a boiling hot acid to spray at whatever is that whatever is trying to get it. It's a small little beetle, and they're pretty common around in different locations around the world. And it's an illustration of something called irreducible complexity. Let me explain what that means. It means that all parts have to be present in the creature in order for it to survive. So if it just had the two chambers with the chemicals without a chamber to store those chemicals, what would happen to it if they mix those chemicals together?
It would blow up.
It would blow up. That's exactly right. So you need the right parts of the creature to end up getting something like this with the ability to do what it does. So that's pretty cool. God created these things just right. And I think here's a question on your sheet. What's the question say, Alden?
What type of beetle is in the touch display?
And what type of beetle is it?
Bombardier beetle.
Bombardier beetle. It's so cool. It's one of my favorite creatures around, and it shows God's amazing design. Let's make our way down here, and I just want to mention these portraits really quick. There's a lot of famous scientists throughout history who believed the Bible to be true, and you don't have to give up pursuing science or anything like that because you believe the Bible. In fact, the Bible makes more sense
And the world makes more sense when we look at it through a biblical lens. So we want you to pursue scientific fields and go out and discover all sorts of things. Some people say, oh, well, do you believe the Bible or science? Well, yeah, we think both are true, and both will arrive at the same place. So let's step up here. There's a question on your sheet. We'll wait for the camera to get over here. Okay, so the question, why don't you read the question? What does it say?
What do real dinosaur bones feel like?
Okay, what do real dinosaur bones feel like? This is one of our displays in the museum where you can actually touch real dinosaur bones. So why don't you go through and touch each thing, and the camera will catch you doing that. Okay, so you feel that. What does that one feel like? How would you describe it?
Rock.
Like rock? Okay, that's a good answer. That's what a lot of people say, because mineral has gotten into the bone and hardened and made it like rock. But there's other spots that feel a little softer, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they still feel like rock, but they're rougher, and you can kind of see the bony material inside. Okay, what about these teeth? These are real mosasaur teeth, but this matrix around it, the rock around it, isn't real, but the teeth are real. So what do those feel like?
It kind of feels soft.
Yeah, and kind of smooth, right?
Yeah.
So what gives them that smooth feel, do you know? Teeth have something called enamel on them, and that's what makes them smooth like that and protects them. So that's what's going on here, and even a lot of the enamel is preserved. Okay, and then you feel some of these too. What do those feel like?
Rock.
About rock too, yeah. So if you were going to put an answer on here, what do real dinosaur bones feel like? What would you say?
Rock.
Like rocks, yeah. That's a lot of what they feel like. So we're always, when we have people out on digs, trying to help them figure out the difference between a rock and a dinosaur bone. Okay, well, let's make our way down here to our apes and humans display. But before we do that, let's kind of get another quick picture of our really cool T-Rex and Acrocanthosaurus, if we can. It's kind of hard a little bit. Maybe you can see it through the glass a little bit. Maybe kind of step up here, and you can kind of look over the edge. There we go. Look at that. Oh, man, that is so cool up here at the top. All right, and then maybe just get his head right here, T-Rex head. And then we'll make our way over here to the apes and humans display. Okay. There's a lot of people that think that evolution is true, meaning that life started out as a simple little microbe and eventually moved up to humans. And over time, slow changes made that happen. We believe that God created everything just the way it is. So when you look at things from an evolutionary perspective, you have to find some way for something to turn into humans. And an ape-like creature is what they've determined turned into a human. We don't believe that. We think God created apes, God created humans. And if you look at our signage up here, this shows that chart that you've probably seen in textbooks of an ape-like creature gradually turning into a human. But they can't find any conclusive link between that ape-like creature and humans. They find apes, they find humans, but they don't find anything that bridges the gap, that really works. And we think that makes sense because the Bible's true, right, Alden?
Yeah.
And God created everything special. He created us in his image, the Bible says. And when he sent Jesus to die on the cross, did he send Jesus to die on the cross for apes?
No.
Nope. Sent Jesus to die on the cross for who?
Humans.
For humans, for you and me. That's exactly right. All right, well, let's make our way over to our last display. So come on over and lead us over to our last display here, Alden. Okay. So several years ago, I was on a radio show out of Billings talking about the museum, and a guy heard us on that show who has done a lot of fossil digging and prepping in the state of Kansas and Nebraska and different places like that. And he wanted us to have the very first cast made of a discovery that he made. His name is Ken Jenkins, and he found the crested nyctosaur. So why don't you give a view up here, and you can kind of see what our museum artist thinks it might have looked like. Melanie made this creature, and it's pretty crazy looking, isn't it? What's the interesting thing about this creature?
The things on top of it.
On the top of its head, right? Yeah, those spikes. That's why it's called the crested nyctosaur, because of those spike things. And he wanted us to have the very first cast made. I'm not sure where the original is today, but this is the first cast that was made, and it was made by the American Museum of Natural History, specifically for Ken Jenkins. So we have that in our museum, and it's really pretty neat thing to have. There's all sorts of amazing creatures that God has made. So let's kind of, we got to look at the sheet here. What is there some matching on here?
Yeah, the crested nyctosaur.
The crested nyctosaur is right on your matching sheet. So make sure you match that up as well and take a look at that. So we're going to kind of spin around here, and we're just going to stand here, I think. And we want to just really thank you for joining us on this journey as we've gone through the museum. We're really excited to have shared our museum with you. We know that there's a lot more to this museum, so you need to come and visit and see us to kind of really know what you're missing out on, and to go through the sheets for themselves, right? So go ahead and get the button out, because we want to let you know how you can earn this button. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you filled out the whole sheet, and then on the back side you need to write about or draw your favorite exhibit as you've been through the museum. What's your favorite exhibit in the museum?
The ark.
The ark? You like the ark? I know you have another one too downstairs.
The fish.
The fish within a fish? Yeah, that's some of your favorites, right? And so you need to do that on this sheet as well. And then send it to me to earn a button. So just hold that button up so we can see it. You can earn that button by sending me this sheet at Fact, P.O. Box 684, Glendive, Montana 59330. And I will put that address in the comments of this video so that you can take a look at that and send that in. You can also scan it in and email it to us. And just email robert@creationtruth.org. robert@creationtruth.org. We'll also get that to you. We'll also get you a button that way as well. Make sure you include a return shipping address so I can get it to you. And then also, if you're able, parents, put a little money in there for return shipping so that we can at least get that out to you. We'll send it to you regardless, so don't worry about that. If you don't have the money to do that, just send in the request. We'll send you the button. But if you do, put in a little and we'll get that out to you. So once again, thank you for joining us. When do we open?
Tuesdays and through...
Tuesday through Saturday, starting May 5th, right? What times are we open? Do you know?
No.
10 a.m. to 5 p.m., all the way up through Labor Day. So come see us wherever you're at. We'd love to have you join us. And tune in again on Thursday at 11 o'clock for a special guest feature. Goodbye.